Yeah, it's your boy S.
BO got that sound, boy.
About to stack up them commas.
Yeah, I got the hang of the mute button now. I know I got the hang of the mute button, so we good. We good. Anytime anybody else talk, I'ma just mute myself. It's right at the bottom now. So we all square now. You know what I'm saying? So it's good. It's good. But give me 1 second. I wanna set the screen up like Dub had his screen when he interviewed Conscious. I thought that was dope, so I'm trying to do the same exact thing. Oh, there you go. Yeah, see, there you go. This is good. This is good.
Yeah, so today's show for the afternoon is a topic based on I sent to BARZ and I talked about. It was two things that in particular that we're going to talk about today. One of them has to do with the wrestlers that everybody thinks is if you got it, boss, if you got that chat I sent you, pull it up and cause I'm trying to find it right now. Hold on for a second, bro. It's wrestlers who are the most irrelevant in all the current promotions. That's the topic we're going to discuss today on BARZ Media Wrestling. So on Wrestling Media, I'm sorry. But yeah, so I came up with this idea this morning, guys. Literally this morning when I woke up before I started my day working. So the reason why I want to bring this particular topic up, and I think it's a very good topic to discuss, is because I have been hearing throughout the entire TikTok internet wrestling community about Carmelo Hayes. And I don't disagree with anyone who feels that he's being underutilized, undervalued, underappreciated. All that is true. However, my take on it is that he is not the only wrestler who is in this category of discussion we're going to have today, especially from other promotions outside of the WWE. So with that being said, I'm going to give my first few that I feel are underutilized in the world of professional wrestling.
You got muted. You paused. Your joint paused. I think he got you. Good now?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, go ahead.
So the most irrelevant, or underutilized or underperforming in TNA is basically the faction in which Moose is associated with. That faction, those guys in that faction, they're not utilized correctly that they should be, because they could be doing stuff in NXT. They could be building up their chances to the X Division, to the World Championship against Joe Hendry, but their focus is on NXT stars and building them up. Now we have the contract signing coming that was yesterday with Trick Williams against Joe Hendry, and people on X last night after NXT went off was like, well, what about Ethan Page? What happened with that? That was supposed to be an ongoing feud before you put Trick Williams into the situation. But I was like, Ethan Page has his own back storyline going on with multiple wrestlers both between TNA and NXT. The Moose situation with his stable, it's like those guys are talking about going after Joe Hendry, going after the TNA tag team belt that the Hardy Boys currently hold. But it's like you hear it on TV, but you don't see anything leading up to, even with the pay-per-views. The last pay-per-view they had, Genesis, it did not quite tell the compelling story they needed to tell for that stable. And then over in AEW, oh my God, with AEW, let's talk about the guys we frequently see on Dynamite in particular. You have guys like Hologram, who's really a Ring of Honor wrestler that just gets a lot of TV time on AEW. But he's not given any title shot opportunities, whether it is the international, the TNT, the Continental. You don't see it because you don't see these guys being used the way they should be utilized, but nobody's complaining. They're just focusing on black wrestlers in particular, like your Swerve Strickland of the world, like your Anthony Bowens of the world. Those guys, and I'm not saying they're undeserving or they don't deserve a title shot or title opportunity. I think what we're overlooking is that just as much as you have minority wrestlers in each of these major promotions in the United States, you have to take into account that it's not about merchandise sales as they try to say it is. It's about who can keep the fan interested both in live action as well as televised action pay-per-view. If that wrestler cannot keep you intrigued for 25 to 30 minutes in a house show or on a television programming or on a pay-per-view, they're not going to get the opportunities they so richly deserve based on talent alone. And I think that's the biggest problem. People put it to the formula that talent outweighs everything else in professional wrestling. It does not, unfortunately. If that was the case, guys like Bearcat Wright back in 1960 when he challenged Freddie Blassie, when Freddie Blassie was the World Wrestling Association heavyweight champion, which was at the time a California-based promotion that had ties to the NWA, he would have been recognized as a world heavyweight champion at that time. But because of the fact that that was not the case, and even now in 2025, you still have things today that does not make sense to the hardcore fans from a storytelling perspective, from a given a chance or opportunity perspective. In the world of professional wrestling, inclusion is not something they believe in. It's just not. It's nothing we can do about it as fans. As much as we mope and complain that our favorite wrestlers or people that look like us that may come from the same background as us deserve an opportunity of inclusion. It's not going to happen to everybody's agreement, first and foremost, simply because the powers that be, the people who own the companies, the stakeholders, such as the public trades as WWE, Endeavor, and TKO, they're not going to back up something that they don't believe in or want to support. They have that right because it's their money they're investing in. They have that right to say, okay, I'm invested. This is what I want to see. If they don't want to see it, it's not going to happen. And the AEW side, excuse me, they have a media deal strictly with Time Warner Discovery. But Tony Khan does have full creative control of the product in which he finances. He is the financer. That's why you see the title of president on the screen, general manager, all these other titles he has, right? Because he's the backer of the promotion. Yes, he went to Cody. Cody came to him over in Japan prior to coming back over the Ring of Honor to challenge Nick Aldis for the title and creating the pay-per-view creating the pay-per-view All In before Double or Nothing. When he made the social media challenge to Triple H, saying that he could do something that no other wrestler had done before on their own. Once Tony Khan got involved with Cody and Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, they only had a couple of $1 million a month, all of them, to even get AEW started. They needed a billionaire investor such as the Tony Khan to get behind. It just so happened that Tony Khan had already thought of the idea on his own, but didn't know which wrestlers he could trust or reach out to. Well, now that Tony Khan is in the position that he's in, people will continue to scrutinize him because he's not doing what many feel he should be doing, but is not doing. Or they want him to do something exactly similar to what WCW was doing against WWE in the Monday Night War saga that went on. It's not going to happen. Tony Khan is his own person. He has his own vision of how he wants to utilize the talent. In TNA, which is operated and owned by the Sinclair Corporation, they are selling over very, very soon. This is the reason why we're seeing this crossover with NXT, because they are in the negotiation legal aspect of allowing TKO and Endeavor to buy out from Sinclair TNA. Will that be the end of TNA when it happens? No. It will not be the end of TNA. It will allow for the wrestlers that we know over on the TNA roster to continue to do crossover shows with NXT stars and the main roster of WWE, while WWE will send mid-card or low-level card talents over there to TNA to get opportunities in the X division and the knockout division and other title shots that they would not get the same fair treatment over in the main roster or over in NXT, so to speak. So that's going to happen with that, and that is going to offset the whole mindset of wrestlers being not being over, so to speak. And I feel like when that happens, they're going to become more relevant than irrelevant. And you're going to hear people talking about, you still want to hear people talk about overrated wrestlers, overrated veterans, overrated performances, overrated gimmicks, it's still going to happen regardless. But I feel like if you look at the bigger picture as to why things are going on the way it's going on, and just look at it from an entertainment aspect instead of what I want, because I'm a paying customer, I'm patronizing your business. I've been patronizing your business for so long that I'm deeply invested. I should have a say-so in this. You got to let that mindset, that mentality go and just enjoy for what it's worth. I mean, for years, I thought the NBA should have done things differently before zone defense was implemented. When Allen Iverson came in the league in 1996, when they implemented zone defense.
I got so all right, so I'm gonna ask you this then, and then I feel like we should open up the panel a little bit just to let them get a gist of what we discussing, right? So I'm gonna ask you this. So what about the wrestlers? Like, all right, so we talking about overused, right? Overused. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a lot of relevant. There's a lot of wrestlers on the AEW roster, right, that haven't been used at all. There's a lot of wrestlers on the WWE roster that haven't been used at all. But what about the wrestlers that are being used, but we don't necessarily consider them ready for TV, but they're on TV anyway? What about that? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, and there's a bunch of guys on TV, on camera as we speak, that they might have needed to go back to mental, and work on, tweak a few things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. But my answer to that is, there's a saying that goes, no publicity is better than free publicity. So if I'm advertising you on television, whether you are terrible on the mic cutting a shoot or a promo, or very sketchy in the ring as far as performance-wise, you're getting free publicity. You're getting exposure. And that's, at the end of the day, that's all really wrestlers want from their fan base, is to get the exposure so they can continue to grow their fan base and build momentum into stories in which they may get title shot opportunities. Their merchandise may begin to sell if those are the things that they are individually worried about.
so check this out. So, all right, and the only reason why I said that, the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because, all right, so what's the girl's name that was with Alpha Academy? What's her name again? Not the Alpha Academy, not Al, not
Ivy,
not Ivy Nile, Maxine Dupree. Yeah.
oh yeah,
So when Maxine Dupree was introduced to the Alpha Academy, right? She had a botch fest a bunch of times, bro. Like to the point where she was getting chewed out multiple times on social media about her move sets, what she was doing. She was botching up the place. She's better. She's a lot better now. But what I'm saying is that she wasn't necessarily ready for that TV screen. So what I'm saying is that don't you think they should have put somebody else that could have filled that slot in her spot until she was ready to make her appearance?
well the half was forced because you remember LA Knight in that state. Then when he got called up to the main roster, he was known as Max Dupree, and he had that whole talent agency and modeling thing. Then they put in Renee. They put in Maxine Dupree as his sister, just so he could go back and wrestle and go back into the persona of LA Knight. And when they broke up the stable of T-Bar and the other cat that was a tag team, when WWE released them, they was like, well, what are we going to do with Maxine Dupree? We got to do something with her because she signed under contract. And they really didn't have a plan for her to wrestle anytime soon. They had a plan to quietly, when she wasn't on TV on SmackDown, to be down in the Performance Center, to work on her in-ring skills so that she could go ahead when the time comes, based on who she was going to be paired up with, she could wrestle against, a lower level on her caliber or mid-card, talent to help her get over to the WWE audience that way. That's what happened with that. It was kind of like the hands were forced, if you will.
All right. So I want to get some of the panel to chime in on this. You know what I mean, and really get the conversation up and running. So I'm gonna start off with exhausted. From what you just heard us talk about, what's your opinion about underused and overused wrestlers, and how do you think that the both companies, meaning WWE and AEW, can fix that?
I think there's a happy medium between them both. I think like a big problem with WWE is when they don't use someone, like they don't use them, and it's kind of like you mentioned. There's a lot of people in the back. There's a lot of people in catering that don't get TV. People probably forget that they're actually even on the roster. You know what I mean? And then there's the guys who kind of get the buzz, and for some reason are used not the way I guess us fans would like them to. Like main example is Karrion Kross. Like the dude is, I mean, everybody's clamoring for Kross to get used more. You know what I mean? And like I wonder what that means in like, do they want him wrestling more? Do they want him more as a on-screen character? Like, because I remember when he first came up to the main roster, you heard people be like, oh, he's not even really that good of a wrestler. So like, do they want him wrestling more? Because when he was wrestling more, they were like, oh, he's not that good of a wrestler to begin with. Do they want him more as an on-screen personality? Kind of like, I guess, similar to the way they use R-Truth, where R-Truth is on TV weekly and he's in segments and things like that. So I think WWE has it's almost like an all or nothing. Like we see the same guys every week on TV, and then it's like, yo, where's all these other guys? And then on the other hand, you got AEW who uses guys in like spurts, and then when they get over, it almost seems like not necessarily intentionally like when they get over, but like after their storyline or after their run is done, you don't see them for a year. Like look at Wardlow. Where's Wardlow? Wardlow was super over. Like when like Wardlow was fucking the crowd was behind him. Like MJF put him over. He was the TNT or TBS champion or TNT champion. Like he was getting over big. And then we haven't seen him in a year. I mean, they did it to Ricky Starks. They did it to Penta. They did it to Rey Fenix. So there has to be a happy medium between both companies and the way that they're used. Because like I said, AEW, they'll use people and then look at, I mean, I know the talks with Mariah May and things like that, but like, look at her storyline and her what year and a half long angle with Tony Storm ended, and that's it. We might not ever see Mariah again. I know the speculation of her going to WWE. I mean, everything like that. But like, if she goes to AEW or if she stays in AEW, so what? She was off of AEW for 6+ months for no reason, just because, like you know what I mean?
Exactly what I've been saying, and Jay can attest to this. I said the exact same thing. Like, where's Mariah May? Like, it seemed like they only were able to use her when she was involved in the angle with Tony Storm, and then that was it. We didn't see nothing from her anymore, and both companies are guilty of this. Like, both companies are literally guilty of using wrestlers for like this 1 or 2 angles, and then we don't see them on television no more. Like, they're both guilty of this. Prime example, Natalya. Natalya has not been used in God knows how long on TV. But you know what? It's okay. And the reason why I'm saying it's okay is because Natalya is killing it on the indies. But she's not an indie wrestler. She don't wrestle on the indies no more.
Her Bloodsport match was really good.
Her Bloodsport match was fire.
Yeah.
And then she's going to be on the NWA circuit doing something with NWA.
Another good example is Mia Yim. I mean, they used Mia Yim for the U.S. title run and the whole chase up to Chelsea Green and things like that. And then once she lost that tournament to Chelsea, she had a rematch maybe, and then used here and there in a tag team match. But yeah, Mia Yim. And again, going into that Intercontinental or the U.S. title tournament, people were saying, oh, it's Mia Yim or Chelsea. They've been the MVP. They've been carrying the SmackDown women's division all of 2024. So again, to go from, hey, she's getting this groundswell of support, and hey, we want her to be the first U.S. champion, to, oh, she lost that tournament and now she's not on TV anymore. Like I said, it's all or nothing with WWE, and then we have something in mind for them in AEW, and then as soon as that's done, we don't got anything. So there has to be there has to be a medium between using them, I guess, more frequently than they do in WWE, and then continuing to use them, unlike AEW, who uses them and then just kind of shuts it down. So yeah, it's a hard thing, because I mean, I think the ultimate cause of this is the bloated rosters. You know what I mean? Like, there's not enough outlets like the 70s, like the 80s, where you had the territories, you know what I mean? Where you can work in Florida Championship for a 2-3 month run. Then you hit Georgia, then you hit the Carolinas, then you can go to Memphis, or you can go to the AWA in Minnesota. Like, it's not like that nowadays. I mean, sure, there's indies right now. There's like GCW and I forgot the name of the place that Javon Evans came from. Like, they're a really good indie squad, but like it's not to the same degree like it was in the territory days. You know what I mean? So it's really hard. Like, it's just a hard industry to be in at this point, because there's so much good talent and a lot of young talent. So I mean, it's just like I said, it's a fine line, man. It's hard.
It's actually I
I
want
want
to
to
push back on that.
I'm gonna let you go, Poppy Panda. I just want to go down the list real quick. Me and Jay want to go down the list and let everybody, give their exact opinion real quick. So I'm gonna let T Beats go. You heard what we discussing. What's your opinion, brother?
With what I've heard, I've got to agree with all three things that were stated there. But I've got to look at it from both sides of that coin. Bars. As a talent myself, as a wrestler and as a fan, there were times where I was used. There was times when I wasn't used. I was just there as to fill in space. You know, uh, it's hard. It is. It really is to be just there to fill in a spot for a promo. You know. Uh, because I'm so used to being used as in ring performer, and then to be pulled out of that in ring performer's position to do just to cut a promo or just fill in space. And it was just it was hard, and like you guys have said, there's a lot of young talent coming in that's not being used. Where there was a statement made in the chat a minute ago. I believe it was OBE or OBW that made it. He said, I believe that WWE is trying to fix the issue by using TNA and buying AAA, and not being surprised if they buy more. That's a good possibility that they could do that and turn around and open up more spaces for their talent to run and get more experience built up. By bringing the younger talent in and letting them get more experience with these other promos and stuff, that's going on with AEW, AAA, TNA. You're going to see a lot more going on, but it's time slots is what the problem is. They don't have enough time slots to be able to do that in right now. And that's where the biggest issue is you need more time slots and more airtime to be able to do it with. And maybe once they get the airtime in and time slots in, they'll be able to do it, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, and I also believe that there's nobody that could really see that point of view properly than the talent themselves. The talent can definitely see it right off the back and definitely can be able to explain it properly. Because we the fans, we looking from the outside in. We don't necessarily see what goes on behind the scenes unless you're actually a worker there. We don't really see all that. We just see everything from the TV screen and whatever, and then we just report from that. So by you just saying what you say, it's definitely true. You know what I mean? Like you're a talent, you're on and off screen, so you will understand from that perspective, like when to be used and when not to be used, and when you feel like you should be used, but you ain't being used at all. So yeah, man, that's those are very good points. I wanna let Kavan come in and speak his piece real quick. We're gonna go down the list, and then we're gonna try to get everybody on to say their pieces real quick before we get off, because what I mean, my peoples, they're gonna start hunting for me in a minute. So I'm looking around right now. So I'm gonna let Kavan tap in real quick. So what's your point with what we talking about right now, bro? Yo, turn your mic up. Turn your mic up or whatever, cause you low. I can't hear you.
Low. Shit. Hold on.
Did you hear what I asked you?
I'm still
I'm
low.
still low. Nah, you not know now. You not know now. Go ahead, bro. Did you heard the question I asked you, right?
Yeah, I heard the
Yeah, I heard the
question. Yeah,
question.
yeah.
Yeah, go right ahead, bro. Go in, man. Go in.
So my opinion on the underused, overused thing is honestly, I think it's return of investment. I think when WWE, AEW puts you on TV, that's a space where if you're not capitalizing on your time, whether it being making crowd reaction or selling t-shirts or just simply giving them a reason to keep putting you on TV, why would I use you? If I'm a company and I could take your TV time and put ads there and make money that way. If you're not making me money, I need to make money some way. Like when you think about Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, they get used as much as they do because they get return of investment. And when you talk about uh not seeing characters after they're in a storyline for a certain amount of time, that's because to me a big problem in pro wrestling today is there are not enough characters and character development. Somebody will be in a storyline for 2 weeks, and in those 2 weeks there's no other development outside of that. We're not learning character traits. We're not learning why people tick, why people think the way that they do. You know, in 2025 we don't have Mankind, Psycho Sids. We don't even have guys like MVP, like just characters, people that when you look on the roster of AEW, WWE, TNA, there aren't character traits and defining characters. You have your Tony Storms or you have your Seth Rollins and your Roman Reigns, but there's not enough. There's just not enough characters. There's not enough of that. And I get that it's hard in 2025 because of the internet and social media, but that's a part of the game. You got to be able to blend reality with the kayfabe. That's a part of it. It's the entertainment factor. Just because I go on your Instagram and I see that you're a normal person doesn't mean when I go to wrestling, I'm already this what's the word? Suspending my disbelief. I'm a grown man watching wrestling, so I know what I'm watching. So it's like watching a movie or a TV show. I'm suspending my disbelief, so make me
And when
believe.
we also
And when we also talk about there's not enough time. TB said a lot of good points, but there is enough time. WWE has 3 shows a week. SmackDown is 3 hours. So if you're giving me a 3-hour show and you're only giving me 4 or 5 matches, that's on you. When you watch, I watch SmackDown every week. That 10 to 11 is all ads. It's more ads than wrestling. So there's enough programming time to get people on the show. You have NXT, then you have Evolve, LFG. So if anything, it's really on WWE's creative team is the reason why a lot of people aren't getting, because you got all these shows, you got all these writers for these shows. Why aren't they creating characters? But then it's also on the wrestlers as well. Why aren't you going to the creative team with ideas, with things like that? So it's a double-edged sword in both ways. But I think ultimately wrestling itself is a saturated thing now. There's a lot of promotions, there's a lot of indies, and there's a lot of television programming. So it's a lot of wrestling and a lot of content, period. So sometimes it's hard to stand out and to make things that are interesting. Like, you know, in the 80s, it wasn't a week to week shows, or in the 90s, it wasn't as many shows. So it was easier to make content that could get people and get their attention. So I think a lot of ways wrestling promotions nowadays spread themselves thin with how much promotion and how much programming that they do.
but I
But
don't
I don't
want to
want to
talk too
talk too
much
much
because we
because we
got a
got a
lot
lot
of
of
people.
people.
So no, man. You brought some great points, and I think a lot of times we as the fans, when we looking, we don't analyze those points. You know, that is very true. I want Darkwing to go real quick. Then I want Poppy Panda to go, and then of course J Movie. I need y'all to go real quick. You know what I mean? And then we gonna cut the live, and then we gonna be back on later on this evening, and then we gonna continue the discussion. So Darkwing, it's on you, bro. Darkwing, you there? Oh, I don't know if he's there. All right, I'm gonna come back to Darkwing. Poppy Pan, what's good?
How you doing? How you doing? So it's a lot to talk about real quick. As a performer, you have to capitalize every opportunity that comes across you. Can y'all hear me? All right. So I'm just saying that, like, in those businesses, like, you're a talent, right? So you have to separate yourself as a talent from everybody else to be seen, even in a small circle of independent wrestling. You have to also separate yourself. There's a bunch of people that could flip. There's a bunch of people that could do stuff. What makes you different from these people? Why are they paying you money and not these people? So when you're in the big time, it's even harder because it's more cutthroat, and you you're asking to get an opportunity. They're investing in you. So when you get that 5 minutes, make it the most 5 minutes that you can make out of it. And don't be like, oh, they didn't use me. I'm like, yo, you only get a certain amount of shots in your life to make a good impression. After that, like, yo, you're a part of a cycle. You have to move and you have to go to the next place and the next place. A lot of wrestlers like Drew McIntyre had to go back into the indies and get their reps back up in order to be recognized and appreciated.
Yo, you brought up some great points too, man. Cody Rhodes had to do the same thing. Cody Rhodes had to do it. There's actually a bunch of wrestlers on that roster that had to do the same thing in order to get their stripes and get recognized on a higher scale. So then when they come back, they'll be valued more. So that's one thing I want to elaborate on when we get back on the live later on. So I want J Movie to close us out. Give your opinion, bro.
What's going on? All right, bro. So let me touch on basically what what's the name? Kayvon said, where he was saying how the wrestler should go to creative and pitch some ideas. Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. No, me personally knowing some wrestlers in WWE as we speak, that is a 50-50 thing, bro, when it comes to going to creative and pitching an idea, especially if you ain't been having no television time. Um like for me, I say everybody from creative to the company to the superstar themselves to the fans, we all have a responsibility to make this whole thing work. And the reason why I say that is because me personally, the reason why Trick Williams got over is because of me and my friends. Because we started to whoop that Trick. If we never would have started that chant, no offense to my brother, because like Trick is like family to me, he would not be over like he is right now. If it wasn't for me starting the Lyra Valkyria clap in NXT, she would not have that on the main roster. She would like her interest would be stale. It'll just be boring as hell. Like if it wasn't for me and my boy Cleveland started to who for Oba would not be as over
That
as he
hoovy
is
going
right now.
hard, bro. As a Nigerian myself, that hoovy going hard, like
You know what I'm saying? Like if
that's
you
the
go
Bible
back to
chant.
level up, thank you, bro. Like if you go back to level up when Oba first started, the crowd was like, "Who the heck is this?" Like he ain't getting no response. But when I first seen him, I'm like, "Oh, bro, that's M'Baku." So when I started saying the Maya Fi stuff, the Black Panther, it caught on. And then as you can see who Obi is today, like a lot of stuff, like fans are responsible just as much as the wrestler is, because the wrestlers wrestle for the love of it, but they wrestle for the fans. The fans have to get involved in the match. This is what these wrestlers want. This is what's been told to me. Mind you, if you go on my Instagram, my TikTok page, like especially my Instagram, you will see all the WWE wrestlers that follow me. The reason why they follow me is because I've been putting in work since 2021. I'll be the loudest person in the NXT crowd. Me and my friends helped a lot of talent get over. A whole lot of talent to the point where now, bro, like I would get a message saying, "Hey, are you coming to the show?" You know what I'm saying? Like us fans, bro, especially in the USA, we have to get involved in the matches. This is what the talent wants. This is why, this is why I will always say there is no crowd in America that can touch this NXT Orlando crowd, because we always hype. Me and my friends, we come up with the most original chants, and we do this to help the talent get over. So when they go to the main roster, they're already superstars. Period. They got their chance. Move on to the next, but it's up to the fans that goes to these shows, Monday Night Raws and SmackDowns, to keep the chants going. Because if WWE go across seas, bro, them chants be on fire.
Yo, bro, I gotta thank you for coming in here, bro, because you brought up a lot of points, man. Look, I gotta get you on the show, on the pod on YouTube, man, and we gotta chop it up, because you said a lot of facts. Like I'm going to end off with one thing, right? So you mentioned how the fans need to get involved more in promoting the wrestlers. That is so true. If you love these wrestlers like you say you do, then yeah, you gotta, like, it's not, and I don't want to say it's not about really so much the merch. I feel like the wrestlers will appreciate it more if you in the arena and you chanting for them and you holding up the signs and you trying to get on camera and big up that wrestler. I feel like they appreciate that more. And I'm gonna give you an example of that. When I was living in Florida, I went to a TNA event. TNA events, we used to get in there like clockwork, right? When I went to TNA, right, I met Voodoo Ken Mafia. I met Billy Gunn, and I met what's his face? Dang, why am I forgetting his name? But y'all know who I'm talking about. I met them two, right? We were the loudest in that section. We were so loud to the point the producers and stuff came to us and was like, yo, listen, we want you guys to participate in a segment that we're going to be dissing DX. And I'm like, oh, word? I'm like, yeah. So I get up. It was me and my roommates. I remember like it was yesterday, bro. And the footage is still on YouTube. I'm going to find it. I'm going to screenshot it. I'm going to post it.
Post that.
Yeah, so we went out there, right? And then they did this whole DX segment. It was a bunch of us in the background, right? And they was like, DX sucks. DX sucks. Stop it now. Stop it now. And then they going all in camera. You could see me, man. I was dark as hell. Like, I was like, stop it now. Stop it now. Yeah, yo, it was funny. It was funny. I got a lot of slack from that from my peoples back in Jersey, but it was funny as hell because, like, that's what they want. That's what they want.
Bro, when me and my crew did the Hulk Hogan, we coming for you, and that thing started trending.
That was y'all that did that. I was
That's me,
oh,
yeah, bro. Like just on my TikTok, bro. You gonna see all the chants, even the Chelsea Green, the Pledge of Allegiance, the Chelsea Green. That's us, bro. Like, like, bro, like I'm legit the person that basically starts all that chants at NXT, bro. Like that's me and my friends. So the thing is, bro, like the wrestlers, they want the fans to get involved. And bro, like you said, bro, like when you go to these shows, be like boo the heel, cheer for the baby face. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like it's just ridiculous. Like it's just some of these fans, they gets on my nerves where they go to a wrestling show and they sit there and be quiet. I'm like, what are you quiet for? You at a wrestling show. Get involved. This is what they want.